comments?
Mine is all. It'd be nice
It's on now.
when we were building
I'm on.
into the refurbished building.
I don't really like this.
Anytime.
Mark, I'm ready to begin if you are.
Yes, sir. Yep, go
Get
ahead.
started before the throngs of people start rolling in. There they are. The time is approximately 6 p.m. and the March 20th, 2025 Farragut Municipal Planning Commission will now begin. Good evening to those of you in attendance and online. Thank all of you for attending tonight's Farragut Municipal Planning Commission meeting. My name is Scott Russ. I'm the chairman that will be conducting tonight's Planning Commission meeting. We appreciate that each of you has taken the time from your schedules to either attend or view tonight's meeting to observe how our town government works. All Farragut Municipal Planning Commission meetings are public notice per Tennessee state law. It's TCA 8-44-103. All Planning Commission meetings are also streaming on the Farragut YouTube channel, and also links to the recordings may be found on the Town of Farragut website. Those of you in attendance should be able to pick up a copy of the agenda at the door when you came in this evening. If you're not able to attend in person or viewing from home, you'll also be able to see the agenda posted on the Town of Farragut website. Any of those persons in attendance who would like to address this commission concerning an item on tonight's agenda, please pick up a blue card at the door, write your name, address, and the agenda item number that you wish to comment on, and pass that over to Mark. Also, there will be time reserved at the end of the business meetings for resident comments on non-agenda subjects, which would also require you to fill out a blue card with your name, address, and the topic of your comments. Now I ask that if you're able, please stand for a moment of silence for prayer and reflection, to be followed by recital of the Pledge of Allegiance to our country's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mark, I've established that we do have 5 members present this evening, and therefore we have a quorum for tonight's proceedings. Mark, are there any amendments to the agenda this evening?
No, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Noes? No noes. Mark, let the record show 5 yes, 4 abstained. Mark, are there any amendments to the minutes from the February 20th Planning Commission meeting?
No, sir.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Noes? No noes.
Noes.
Mark, it appears that we have 7 business items to review, discussion.
9.
Well, 7 for discussion.
Oh,
If-
sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry.
So we'll go ahead and get started with the agenda item number 3, and that is discussion and public hearing on approval of sanitary sewer line upgrade within an existing sanitary sewer easement between 12744 and 12900 Kingston Pike. It's the east and west side of South Hobbs Road, FUD applicant.
And there's no one here from FUD this evening because of spring break, but the staff's comfortable with this request. Basically, it's and that's kind of their traffic control plan there, that they will have to do some of that. But basically, they're replacing a section of sanitary sewer. It's currently an 8-inch pipe with a 15-inch. It's a pretty big area that this sewer serves, all the way down to the interstate at Watt Road, and then to the west to the Garnet Hills subdivision in Loudoun County. So with all the development that's going on in the western part of Farragut and kind of eastern Loudoun County, that their FUD's needing to upgrade their sanitary sewer line through this section. Most of the upgrade's going to be within the existing trench and existing sanitary sewer easement. The only area where they're modifying it, let me pull this up here. There's a couple of areas. One, the existing line is here, and all this is kind of to the north of the Renaissance Farragut development, and then over to the west side of South Hobbs Road. That's basically the section we're talking about. So this section here where it crosses South Hobbs Road, kind of on the western end of the project, the existing sanitary sewer line goes closer to the creek. They're adjusting that to bring it to the north so that it's further away from the bridge and from the creek, which is a good thing for future. If there was anything that we were planning to do with the bridge or that area in the future, it would be better to have the sewer line further north. So, but the rest of the work is within an existing trench within their easement. And the staff is recommending approval of this utility upgrade project, subject to obtaining the right-of-way permit through the town's engineering staff, and that involves coordinating erosion control, traffic control, and then the new easement, which I think they've already secured with the property owner, just providing us with a copy of that. So with those subject tos, again, the staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Based on staff information provided, we'll need a motion and a second before
So
we
moved.
open for discussion.
With the subject twos.
With subject twos. Thank you, Louise.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Mark, I understand that there's nobody signed up this evening, and we do not have a representative from FUD. So with that, I'll open it up for questions from the fellow commissioners.
Nothing from me.
We got a lot of heads nodding. Thank you. I don't have anything to add to that. So with a motion and a second on the floor, I'll ask all those in favor for approval with subject twos. Say yes.
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 Yes. Noes? No noes. Mark, let the record show that the approval of the sanitary sewer line at 12744 and 12900 Kingston Pike is approved. 5 yes, no noes. Moving on to agenda item number 4, discussion and public hearing on approval of a roughly 720-foot extension of a 2-inch MDPE gas main line along a portion of Red Mill Lane to service the property at 630 Red Mill Lane. KUB applicant.
Yeah, this is a project that's on the, depending on which direction you're going here, it's kind of on the south side of Red Mill Lane through this section of Red Mill. And it is basically terminating at 630 Red Mill Lane on the east side of Red Mill Lane over here to service this property. All the work that KUB is performing will be done by KUB, and they'll be using directional boring for this, so including going under Red Mill Lane to service the location off Red Mill. So the staff is recommending approval of this utility extension project, subject to obtaining the right-of-way permit through our engineering department, which involves, of course, the erosion and traffic control that would be applicable for this particular project.
Okay, thank you, Mark, and I understand that we do have somebody from,
Do you want a motion first?
oh, yeah,
Move
if you
to
could.
approve with the subject twos.
Second.
So we do have a motion and a second, and nobody signed up to speak on this item, so
Yes,
if you would just please give us your name and your address for the record. All right.
And you're with
Colton.
KUB?
Thank you, Colton. And I guess you're okay with all of the subject twos that Mr. Shipley ran down. We're good with that, Mark. You're good with subject twos? All right,
Yes, sir.
I'll open it up for questions or discussion. Either of the
No, it
commissioners.
looks pretty straightforward. I have no comments.
Have we got a house being built there or something? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's all I have.
Okay. I don't have anything else. We have a motion and a second on the floor. I'll ask all those in favor for approval with the subject tos, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Noes, no noes. Mark, let the record show that approval of the 720-foot extension of the MDPE pipe on 630 Red Mill Lane is approved. 5 yes, no noes. Thank you, Colton.
Okay.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5 is discussion and public hearing on approval of a preliminary plat and a variance from the distance between driveways requirement in the driveways and other access ways ordinance, and a reduction in the center line radius and design speed requirements in the subdivision regulations associated with the 341 Boring Road subdivision. That's parcel 070 and 072. The tax map is 142. That's between Waverly Court and Baldwin Park. 32 house lots, 12.76 acres, currently zoned R3. Rackley Engineering applicant.
Okay, we will have to act on the 3 variances and then the preliminary plat, but just to give you an overview of this project, as it was noted in the caption, this is 12 acres that's situated between Waverly Court, which is on the west side of the property, and on the east side is Baldwin Park. Boring Road is up at the top of the map there to the north. And then to the south is Village Commons, and currently there's a access that stubs into the property to the south from Village Commons. They're connecting to that. The main access for this subdivision is off of Boring Road, which does require an access variance, which I'll talk about in a minute. Then they are connecting to the 2 walking trails that stub into the property from the east, from Baldwin Park, here, and then down here on the kind of the southeast part of the property. And these walking trail connections are part of their open space. They also have some entrance areas that will be heavily landscaped to count toward their open space, both at the Village Commons entrance and up at Boring Road. And then they also have a kind of a passive recreation area in the middle, in this particular area that'll be heavily landscaped. So it's all going to be passive recreation as far as their open space amenities. There's a 25-foot buffer around the side and the rear property periphery of the development that's required in the R3 zoning district. And then the stormwater detention is down here in the southeast corner of the development. Let's see if we got, this kind of shows that open space a little bit better. The shaded areas would be the open space. And it's kind of got a loop road system through there, which is a good design, better than a series of cul-de-sacs, so that's a good way to do that. The grading you can see there for the project. A lot of trees that will be added. This is kind of a image of the landscape plan. And again, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of their open space is just going to be passive recreation, so it'll have a lot of heavy landscaping associated with that. The variances that they've requested, first one is related to their access point on Boring Road. Through this section of Boring Road, there's really no place they could put an access that would meet the 200 feet of distance between driveways on a collector street like Boring Road. There is a house that's under construction on the north side of Boring Road, and it has a loop driveway, and the property owner's aware of their access point, and he said he was fine, with what they're proposing. But where the driveway comes out, it's about 154 feet from the proposed subdivision entrance. And so the entrance for the subdivision was placed in this general location because it's better topographically, and it has good sight distance through there as well. And then, obviously the property on the north side is just going to be a single dwelling unit, so it's not going to generate a lot of traffic So as far as that variance goes, the staff would be supportive of the variance from the distance between driveways as a recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. So if y'all want to discuss the subdivision in general, we can, but that's the first.
Why don't we work through the variances first?
The variance, okay. Does anybody have any questions on that particular variance?
None.
I'm going to make a motion to approve a variance from the distance between driveways for reasons stated in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and we also have a second, and just judging by the previous comments, we don't have any questions for the applicant at this time.
I have none.
Not on that.
Okay, very good. Well, we have, like I said, a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Noes? No noes? Let the record show that the variance for access to Boring Road, variance from the distance between driveways requirement is approved. 5 yes, no noes. All right, Mark, you want to hit the
The other two variances are in our subdivision regulations. The access ordinance is actually in our driveways and other access ways ordinance, and it's separate from the subdivision regulations. So, but the two variances they're requesting in the subdivision regulations basically provide for a little tighter radius for the streets and also a slower design speed from 35 to 25. So the staff is supportive of both of those variances as they will help, slow traffic. The way the internal street system is designed anyway, it's kind of designed to not encourage very fast moving vehicles, obviously, because of the loop network here. But that kind of gives them a little bit more opportunity to tighten those curves a little bit and further slow the traffic down. So both of those variances, the staff is in support of those. So if anybody has any questions, either me or Russ can help answer that for you.
Okay, I'm going to do these separately. I'm going to make a motion to approve a variance to reduce the minimum center line radius from 150 feet to 100 feet for reasons in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Pinchot?
I'm curious, what is the width of the lanes? It's probably in here somewhere.
First of all, I'm Russ Rackley, Engineering, for the record, PO Box 30456.
Thank you.
Thank you, Russ.
26-foot roads, a 13-foot lane, just standard like everything else. We're not reducing road width.
Okay.
It's just, if we didn't have the stub out and connect to the south, this would be a loop like Baldwin Park, and then the 100-foot would be allowed. But because of the stub road to the south, technically not a loop street. But the 100-foot radius allows us to better utilize the property and the grades on the property to get more length of road to minimize the road grades.
Got it. Okay. I'm fine with that. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments for the applicant?
I have none.
Okay, I'll close discussion. We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of approval of reducing the center line requirement from 150 to 100 feet, say yes.
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 Yes. Noes, no noes. Mark, let the record show the approval of the center line radius reduction from 150 to 100 feet is approved with a vote of 5 yes, no noes. And the remaining variance is the design speed requirements.
I'm
from
going to, so we've
35
already
to
discussed that.
25.
From 35 to 25 miles per hour, yes.
Move to approve the variance to reduce design speed from 35 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour for reasons in staff report.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. That said, I'll open it up for discussion. Are there any questions
I
from the
have-
commissioners?
One thing I'd like to say,
Louise?
like, I don't have a problem, I don't have a problem with reducing design speed. Mark, are we looking at this? There's no neighborhood street that should have a 35 mile per hour design speed. TDOT and US Highway Administration, they've all looked at this, and a higher design speed just tends to promote higher speeds, especially with 26-foot lanes. Is this something that we're addressing? And I know that we're looking at our subdivision regulations, but this is something that I think we really do need to address.
That's one thing we're looking at. And next month, we'll bring some cross-sections for y'all to look at as a workshop discussion on certain, mostly collector streets that are rural. And whatever ends up coming out of that discussion that might affect the subdivision regulations, will incorporate other things like looking at that as well for local streets and the design speed for local streets. So I'd have to, obviously run that by Darrell and make sure
Understood.
that he's comfortable with it from his perspective.
A bunch of paperwork about how this is not good. We need to slow down our streets.
Yeah.
And one way to do it is with the design speed.
Well, and this design is a good design for that, frankly, because, it's,
There's only so much speed you can.
yeah,
Not
it's,
many
it-
straightaways there.
yeah.
There's
So
no accounting for stupidity, so.
I might add, and I'm not involved in revising your regulations, but design speed and posted speed are two different things.
Obviously,
Design
yeah.
speed
Yeah.
only affects the rate of vertical curvature, so it allows you to make vertical curvature.
But does it not even control, it can control horizontal a little bit?
It does.
In this case, it
but-
doesn't.
Well, your regulations don't marry horizontal radiuses with actual design speed. You have to set forward, you reduce to the 150.
Okay.
35-mile-an-hour design speed, horizontal radius is about 350 feet.
Oh,
You wouldn't
okay.
have any neighborhoods.
No.
Yeah, so.
I understand what you're saying.
it's-
Thank you.
it's vision, headlight at night and stuff, but on a small project like this with not, 32, 36 homes, whatever it is, like on some of our bigger projects, the main road out needs to be 35-mile-an-hour design speed. But then the offshoot little loop roads and
Okay.
stuff can be reduced, so.
Well, at least, and I appreciate you giving us that input, because
Yeah.
I'm not an engineer. I do know from personal experience, well, not that kind of engineer. Riding on Everett Road or riding on McPhee Road, the design speed is, and the lane width is too wide for a road like that. But, that's been something that I've been
Yeah,
kind of,
it's a difficult thing because you can never out-regulate or out-engineer people doing silly things.
yeah,
And then who's.
you can't, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, so Darrell's position is like, I want a straight, flat road, because then nobody's going to come back.
Blame him, yes, I understand that.
So-
And I don't want a straight, flat road, because, so I appreciate your time. And that, when we are looking at this, I think it's very important that we have your input. It's important to look at are we creating roads that are too fast? But are we reducing the safety if we're not paying attention to?
I'd be happy to share my thoughts.
I appreciate
And
that.
also, I've designed stuff in about every district, from Jasper to Jellicoe and Colorado
Yeah.
and back.
So you've
I
seen-
can share with you what some other people do that kind of marries not really design speed, but for sag curves where you're worried about headlights, distance versus crest curves and side distance, and just put a minimum in that is not necessarily design speed, but it gives everybody the comfort level that they want. So,
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you. That's all I had, and I'm sorry I got a little off topic.
No, that's fine. I learned something today.
Okay, we got
That I'm not an engineer?
questions, that kind of engineer. Russ, I do have a question.
Yes.
This has to do with lots. When I look at lot 12
Yes.
and lot 36, have you got enough open space that, when I see that there's a easement that goes across through that lot 30, or lot 12,
That easement goes away. That's the existing low-pressure line serving Baldwin Park, and we are relocating.
Okay.
That low-pressure line, so one of the staffs.
That's comment number 6 on the preliminary plat.
Clarify that on the
Yeah.
okay.
We need to vote on the variance and get to the plat.
Oh,
Yeah, we
I'm
didn't
sorry.
vote on the variance yet.
That's fine. Let's,
Yeah, let's.
hold that thought for just a minute. We do have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the design speed requirements from 35 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour. All those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes? Noes? No noes? Mark, let the record show that variance number 3, reduction of design speed requirements from 35 to 25 is approved. So now we can move on to the plat and resume where we.
Yeah, my concern was,
It's right now.
And of course, you're saying it goes away, then it don't matter, but my concern was that you could probably move that lot line down onto 36 to give you more room on 12.
Right,
But if it goes away, it's a moot point.
and as we move further down, because of the curvature to tie into the stub road where it was stubbed out, we lose depth. So we need both width and depth to build
Okay.
the house. So, but no, we have to we can't do any degrading until we relocate that existing, because it's in service, that existing 3-inch pressure main serving Baldwin Park. So
Okay.
that's part of the sewer plans with First Utility District.
Okay. And then down at the bottom where it necks down to go to Village Commons,
Yes.
is there a specific reason why it necks down like that, or is it something where 34, is it a topo thing?
A little bit of grading, but more, we're probably gonna put a ground monument there, an entrance feature.
Okay,
to kind of
okay.
separate
Yeah.
this development from the assisted living care facility.
Okay, got it. And that's going to be on 34?
Well, yeah, is that I don't have the numbers.
That's
in front
open
of me.
space
That
lot.
little,
Right.
the little open space area on the right-hand side of the road driving into the new development.
Yeah, east side, yeah.
Is that 34? Yes,
Both of those sides.
yeah,
As opposed to 36? Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And,
Okay.
and either, on 36 where the sidewalk is, and we're still waiting, and they've got a new postmaster for the Knox County area, that if they're delivering, which I think they are by truck to the assisted living, we want to propose to put the centralized mill unit behind the sidewalk on 36.
Okay.
If they don't like that. and
That's
come
actually
off the main-
35. Are you talking right across from?
35.
Yeah, 35, okay.
Opposite is Red Laser, where the sidewalk is on, yeah.
That's what CMU is, centralized mail, okay.
Centralized mill unit, yep.
He's got two locations.
Yeah,
one up here
if
and
they,
one down there.
if they kibosh that and say, no, we want our regular route truck to run, then we'll put it up on the corner of the sidewalk coming in off the entrance and the first internal intersection. Because being 32 units, it'll just be two 16-unit.
Okay.
So it's unlike our bigger 100-lot developments where we've got a big massive pull-off and all that. This will be more of a walkable kind of scenario.
Yeah, because you've got a separate lot up there that would be on the north east corner.
37.
Yeah, 37.
Yeah, well, now that'll be, again, open space, landscape, and possibly an entrance monument.
Okay,
We would be down near this internal intersection where the walkway crossing is to tie into that one. Yeah, right there. We would place a CMU in that location.
Okay.
We already have an ADA curb cut and all that.
okay, okay.
Again, being only 32 units, there's not a whole lot of traffic, so a couple of cars stopping every now and again to get out and get their mail should be a hindrance.
It's not like the actual entrance like you have at Brass Rail, yeah,
Yeah,
where you need to pull off.
that's right.
Okay.
And the sheer number of units.
Yeah, right.
It's a much more massive centralized mill unit.
Okay, well, before we continue discussion, we've already opened up discussion without a motion and a second. I'm going to ask that do you have any comments?
I just,
Commissioner Blanchard?
the open space right in the middle of the project, 33, is that going to be usable in any way, or is it, I mean, is going to be access to it for the residents or not?
Well, they have access
Yeah.
down at the bottom right there.
Right here.
But our intention from feedback really from some of the residents of Baldwin Park was not to create something that was going to be an ever-increasing financial burden to
Yep.
maintain. So we're trying to do it reforested and just maintain that, and then either Saddle Grove or maybe the HOA at some point, if they want to put some benches or
Yeah.
whatever, then they can decide to do that.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to create something that, nothing's getting any cheaper.
No.
And we didn't want to create something that's just going to, every year, their dues are going to have to go up and go up and go up to maintain it, so.
I apologize for the questions, but I was not at staff developer meetings, so,
Yeah. No, you're fine.
okay.
You're absolutely fine.
Do you have any issues with the subject twos?
No, ma'am. We
Okay.
respectfully request approval with the non-conditions per staff recommendation.
I'm going to make a motion.
Wait a minute, I got a question number 3. What is,
Can I just make the motion so
Oh,
we
I'm
can,
sorry.
we haven't done that yet. I'm going to move to approve the preliminary plat with the subject twos.
Second.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm just curious, number 3, what is the WQU, offline WQU? Can't
Water
figure that
quality
out.
unit.
That was a typo. I tend to modify prior drainage reports. Like, all the calculations are fresh in the back, but the summary and all that, and that was, in other jurisdictions, they require an 80% TSS removal, and you have to put in these things that, again, cost the homeowner thousands of dollars a year, the HOA to maintain and all that. But
It's not relevant here?
it's not relevant
Okay.
here. I will revise my stormwater management plan and get that corrected. So, I just, it's an oversight. It was in the summary at the bottom, and I just, everything else in there was right, but the summary at the bottom, I just missed it on my review. So,
Thank you.
my
Okay.
errors. I apologize.
Thanks, Russ. Commissioner Green?
I have a comment on the landscaping plan, it's sheet L2. Seems like there was a discussion about the trees on both sides of the road.
Yeah, he took a lot of those out. It was pretty much where you couldn't even get an access in there because he had so many trees.
Yeah.
So I actually suggested to thin out the trees, which is hard for me to say, but
Yeah, I knew it was hard. That's why I remembered it, actually.
but it just wasn't practical the way he had it in there. So now he's kind of got it more evenly distributed, and it's, you know, it's still going to create over time that streetscape, that look and feel that, you know, we're trying to encourage with having a requirement for a streetscape plan in our subdivision regulations.
So it looks like the trees are going to go between the road and the sidewalk?
Mm-hmm.
Is there room enough for that?
Yeah, that's why we changed our width requirement a few years ago from 3 foot to 6 foot minimum. And then we look at the kind of
Is that
trees,
6 foot on there?
and we look at the type of trees that they put in there and make sure they're street trees that are appropriate and meet our definition of street trees in our public tree care ordinance, so,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Well, and also, if I might add, First Utility District has agreed to let their water line live over the sidewalk, because normally you wouldn't be able to plant street trees, but in that 6-foot strip,
Yeah.
that's where all the other utilities
Yeah.
live. So it is a bit of problematic, but I've pulled every straw out of my hat I have to make it work, just for Mark.
Well, I think over time, these developments that we have been requiring this for, they're going to have beyond my lifetime probably, but it'll be a nice look that they're going to have over time and, you know, create a kind of a sense of place for these subdivisions, so.
No, this will be a great addition to the town.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Russ. We do have a motion on the floor for approval of the preliminary plat associated with 341 Boring Road. All those in favor say yes.
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 Noes, no noes. Mark, let the record show that preliminary plat approval associated with 341 Boring Road has been approved with a 5 yes and no noes vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6 is discussion and public hearing on approval of a site plan for a Brewster's Real Ice Cream, 11692 Parkside Drive, parcel 191.10, tax map 130. That's located south of the Home Federal Bank off of Parkside Drive, near the Publix. 1.57 acres, zone C1, Knoxville Brewsters Incorporated applicant.
Yeah, this property is actually the last undeveloped tract in the Turkey Creek development. It fronts on North Campbell Station Road, but doesn't have access to North Campbell Station. It will be accessed through a joint access easement that is just to the east of Home Federal, which is here to the left or the north. And then you got the First Watch is over here to the east. So that's the tract we're talking about. So it's kind of a pre-padded lot already, but basically there's this will have like a drive-through with a really significant stacking area that comes around to the building. The building's a little bit over 1,400 square feet, and it's got about almost 3,000 square foot outdoor patio area that's got some seating and benches and things like that. So it'll be a, a real popular place, particularly in the summertime, I'm sure. So people can dine in or go to the pickup window like they do on North Shore, or they can also, go through the drive-through and go that direction. The site plan is pretty straightforward. We talked about this at the staff developer meeting. They've only have a few comments left from the staff's perspective, and really all of those are just reminders of typical requirements that we have, like letters of credit and drainage fee and stormwater maintenance agreement and things like that. And this shows a little bit better the improvements versus the green space, all the shaded areas, the green space. This area was rezoned and replatted a few months ago in anticipation of this development. So the buffer strip was 50 feet originally, and then it was reduced to 35 feet, if you all remember that. So one of the things they're doing with this project to meet our low-impact development requirements, since it was kind of already pre-graded and the storm system's already kind of pre-planned, is they're just going to add a lot more trees than are required, and that will help absorb the stormwater. And that is actually a low-impact development measure, is just adding more tree cover to intercept the rainfall, the rain, and absorb the stormwater through the roots of the trees, and that's what they're proposing to meet that particular requirement. They'll have a sidewalk connection up to the sidewalk that stubs in to the access easement from the First Watch area. The property here along Campbell Station Road is a real steep bank, so really putting a sidewalk connection down to the sidewalk on North Campbell Station was just, it was just too much grade to deal with, and really the benefit is pretty minimal, frankly. So that's kind of the layout. The building itself is mostly brick. It has some black awning features on it, and so that's kind of what that would look like. And I think the project engineer and the project architect are here if you all have any specific questions for them. But staff is recommending approval of this site plan subject to the 9 conditions that were included in the packet.
I'm going to move to approve with the subject tos.
Second.
Who do we have on the second?
Ron or Ron?
Pinchot.
Ron, just for Ron.
Williams,
It's one of us.
one of the Rons.
All right.
Yeah.
If we have anybody from the applicant, if you could come up to the podium in case we have any questions for you. Flip a coin.
Stephanie Genua, R2R Studio, 2575 Road 1
Hello, Stephanie. Are you okay with all the subject twos and the reminders and the remaining details? Okay, I'll ask any of the commissioners if they have any questions. We'll start with you, Commissioner Pinchot.
I do. One of the subject twos, or 2 of them, 6 and 7, are in regards to signage boards. And apparently there are 2 drawn, but we're only allowing 1. Are you aware of that, and you're okay with that?
Yes. Yeah, one was a preview board and one is the menu board, so we'll eliminate the preview board.
Yeah, it's here and here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The other question I have, can you put the,
Building elevation, yeah.
it looks like the front of the building is the top right corner, which is going to face Campbell Station, and the back of the building is the bottom right corner, which is going to face First Watch. Am I right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Seems a little odd to me. Could you explain why?
I think the intent was majority of the view will be from Campbell Station, so the intent was to direct it to patios kind of fronting Campbell Station as well. So
I'm just, I guess in my mind, people that are in Publix or in First Watch, inside that parking area, look at that building, they're just going to see that. Is there going to be any signing on that? Is there going to be anything to identify what it is?
Yeah, we will have signage, obviously, we're still working through that and what, with the visual resources review board, but there will be some signage that we would propose on the back or that, the top left elevation, so that would be kind of the angle view that you would have coming in as well, so.
That would be but the bank side.
The.
Top left?
The top left would be, so if you go to the site plan, yeah, so that, it would be that left view of the building, or, yeah, that view of the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so
we'll
far,
have kind of that back elevation. Yeah,
it's so far back in the lot.
yeah.
And
Which
I'm
is-
just thinking there ought to be something there
Well,
that,
you'll have a monument sign, won't you?
Yeah.
Well,
there, well,
I guess will be out by the front there
We'll know
somewhere.
where, people are gonna know where Brewster's is.
Well, I
Guarantee
hope so.
that.
Yeah, I wish you,
We will find it.
it's a smaller building too, I mean,
Need a
it's just,
sign.
it's very much more situated toward Campbell
Right.
Station. So I think that's where, because we have it in proximity closer to that property line, the thought was to orient the front of it bigger, just to help draw the attention, to know it's there.
usually we try to get right up close to
Well,
where
street,
it is.
your best street presence
Yeah, I
is
agree.
on Campbell Station.
Oh, yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
all about visibility from the traveling public.
Yeah, because you won't see it from
You won't see
Parkside
it
Drive,
from
obviously,
Parkside.
but there's a lot of people will see it from Campbell Station.
Okay.
That's a good question, Commissioner, because I've looked at that 1,000 times, and once I get in there to turn into Publix, I kind of get lost on everything else. I'm really laser beamed on.
I have a tendency to look left, you know,
Yeah, same here.
and I just want to make sure that you're getting as much traffic as we could.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, thank you for,
Well, the monument sign will be the key, because that's what you, when you pull it to the lot there by
That's
Home Federal, then that's what you'll be looking for. I mean, once you see it on Campbell Station and you pull in, that's what you'll be looking for. Not so much the building, because you'll be able to see the building from Campbell Station.
Yeah.
So that's all that.
I have one thing, and I know that this topography is very steep there, but I still see people crawling up that hill. People coming up Village Green are not going to go all the way around. If they're walking or riding a bike, they'll just crawl up that hill. Have we considered stairs? Have we considered like a public-private partnership to get some stairs in there? Is it too steep to even put in stairs?
Yeah, I would refer to our civil, but
It's,
Well, we can't make
it's
it ADA.
pretty
so-
steep.
Well, that's true. We
So
can't.
I wouldn't go
It's
down
ADA
that
issues.
rabbit hole.
yeah.
People are still crawling up that hill. I'm
You'd
just
have,
telling you.
you'd have to do like a switchback like Bank of America, but this is like a lot more grade
Yeah.
that you're dealing with here.
Yes, you-
I asked Annette to look at that because I had the same desire, but then when you look at it and you go out and look at it in reality, and it's like, yeah, that'd be a challenge. It's doable, but it'd be a really big
Yeah.
expense, and I'm not sure how many people would frankly use it.
Well, given the cost of it, I agree.
Yeah.
Because you're still going to have people crawling up the hill, but that's.
There probably
fine.
will be,
We'll
yeah.
just have a sign there.
Be a
saying,
good workout,
"We can't
going
do
up the
this."
hill.
We would give you one, but we
You
can't.
could work out before you eat your ice
There you
cream.
go.
Climb up the hill.
And don't get a good rolling start because we might have to put guardrail at the bottom of that hill. But, all right, that's all I had.
Commissioner Green? Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor for approval of the preliminary, or for the site plan for Brewster's Real Ice Cream with subject twos at 11692 Parkside Drive. All those in favor say yes.
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 Noes, no nos. Mark, let the public record show that the approval of the site plan for Brewster's at 11692 Parkside Drive is approved. 5 yes, no nos. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Good luck with it.
Agenda item number 7 is discussion and public hearing on approval of a revised concept master plan as required for modifications to the commercial portion of the Kingston Pike Village Plan Commercial Development at 13106 through 13-140 Kingston Pike. 18.5 acre zone, planned commercial district, Kingston Pike Properties 2 LLC applicant.
Yes, this concept master plan, we've looked at different versions of this over several meetings. The most recent two were in June and January. Having a concept master plan is one of the components of a rezoning to the planned commercial development district. Basically with this particular PCD district, when it was originally rezoned, the concept master plan included multifamily on the south half, basically, and that's already been completed. Then on kind of the north half of the property, and Kingston Pike's down at the bottom of the screen here. So in this case, the south is at the top, which is the opposite of how usually things are laid out, but that's just to orient you where we are. Originally, the concept master plan for the north end was a grocery store, and it had a fuel center kind of in this general area. And then there was a couple of retail buildings along Kingston Pike that were up closer to Kingston Pike. And there was kind of quite a bit of parking and asphalt in this general area here with the original concept. The concept that they're proposing at this time is pretty similar to versions that we've seen in the past. They've made some adjustments. If you may remember, there was a kind of a loading area that was in this general area with a previous version, and we asked them to kind of revisit that because we're trying to make the interface between the multifamily and the commercial to be kind of an inviting and, transition from one to the other. So what they've done here, these are kind of either would be larger landscaped areas or a combination of landscaped areas and outdoor seating areas. They also have the same here. So the buildings are relatively small footprint. They range from 2,500 to 6,200 square feet with a mixture of retail, office, and restaurant spaces. And then in this building here to the north, this would have a drive-through restaurant use here on the east end. Down here is Little Joe's, so there'd be a connection into the Little Joe's site in the southwest corner, and then the access here on Kingston Pike from Little Joe's would go away. And that's kind of how that all is accessed. And then the access coming in from, you got the Y-12 Federal Credit Union here on the west side, and basically the access is coming in through here. It's already kind of pre-established. They're not certain what they are planning for this part of the remaining PCD, so that is future development at this time. One of the things that I think they've got a challenge with topography. You can kind of see the contour lines in here, how close together they are. So this is a very steep area, unfortunately. So it makes trying to tie something in to the dog park and the open space that they have with the multifamily a real challenge. But one of the things the staff would like for them to look at when they do something here is to try to introduce some, activated spaces along this corridor to kind of give it, a little, almost like when you go into North Shore Town Center and you got the Casual Pint and the Kazzies and, just to kind of give it a little activity and activated spaces along this interface here. And that would kind of tie in with the multifamily, because a lot of the people that are living back here, we want to encourage them to be able to walk down here and, sit out and eat a meal or have a beer or whatever. So it's a good kind of complementary use, for the multifamily. So just kind of looking at that, particularly with what they do over here. So The concept master plan is just that, it's a concept, so they will have to do more detailed site plan, and that will come just to the planning commission. But concept master plan, when there's a major amendment to it, it actually has to go through not only you all, but also the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. So the board's going to have to review this as well, since it is a major change from what was originally part of the rezoning. I think it's a better layout than what they had with the original, no question in my mind, at the staff level at least. So there's some things that I think you could still improve on, but I think that it's definitely a better mixture of uses and footprints versus what was originally, I think, part of the original rezoning. So that's kind of an overview of what they're requesting. This shows some of the landscape areas, and those shaded areas are landscaped areas, and you can see all the trees and things. And some of those can be converted to just outdoor seating areas to kind of create kind of active spaces here. Even though this is not in the mixed-use town center, it is in the planned commercial development zoning district, and we try to encourage things that are a little above and beyond, because there's some things that are more flexible in the PCD. So in exchange for that, we try to look for things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to achieve in just a regular C1 project. So those are some of the things that this particular concept is showing. So if anybody has any questions, I can try to help answer those, or the applicant is here as well.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Do we have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve the revised concept master plan.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If you would, please give us your name and your address.
Yes, AJ Parent with 4th Street Capital.
KJ, what was the last name?
Parent, like mom and dad.
Oh, okay.
KJ Parent.
All right.
Thank you, KJ. Before I open it up for discussion to the Planning Commission, do you have anything that you'd like to add on top of Mark's comments and description of the revised concept plan?
Not particularly, he did pretty well. Like he said, we're looking for approval on the master plan concept here. Like he said, the patio or landscaping kind of space in the back, there was a loading zone, so we got rid of that. You can see there's 2 larger parking spaces back there in the top left. Next to that,
Right here.
we used as the loading zone for the retail and restaurant. And then I do think there was an aspect of the drive-through that we added in to make it have a little better separation between the parking and drive behind it and the drive-through. Just make that a little bit more clear. Other than that, we did pretty well.
All right, thank you, KJ. I'm going to just open it up for discussions with the fellow planning commissioners.
Well, this is a preliminary, so
It's just a concept, yeah.
Yeah.
plan.
it's not in stone yet. So, no, I don't have anything.
I'm comfortable with this. I appreciate that you've gone back and given us some more green space that is kind of closer to the apartments. That's kind of where you're going to have that's going to be the quietest part of this commercial development anyway. And those are the people that will be seeking some opportunity to just kind of wander down. I understand also that we're in the suburbs and we need parking lots and all that stuff, because not everybody wants to walk anywhere. So I appreciate the efforts here, and I thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Of course.
Well,
Yeah, of course.
what benefits you benefits them, and also it makes it interesting for people that want to live there. This is and I will say, I agree with you, this is so much better than a grocery store and a fuel station, and we lucked out.
It's more neighborhood scale buildings.
Yeah.
And it's kind of almost kind of like a neighborhood convenience commercial development in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely favors
The
that more than it
footprints
does
are, yeah.
PCD.
Commissioner Pinchuk?
I have things to say. You next?
No, go
You
ahead.
guys,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
arm wrestle.
Appreciate the changes you've made. I like what you've done with the open area back there and also the loading and area. Mike, and that's great for the buildings that are in the center of the project, but the 3 buildings at the front near Kingston Pike, I'm just curious, there's no loading zone, there's no trash. I mean, there's trash, but I mean, you got to get across the line of cars waiting to go through the coffee shop to get, so what's the plan there for loading?
It's right here is the,
That's the trash,
yeah. So it's really not that far. I mean,
but how about loading? I mean, trucks are coming to deliver stuff to the restaurant. Where are they going to bring?
The current plan for the restaurant, the restaurant will be a little tough in the mornings, but the other 2 are right now for office space for.
That's not a big issue, but I'm just concerned that you're not going to bring all that food and all the supplies through the front door, I hope, of the restaurant. So what's the plan?
McDonald's handles it. They handle it
Well,
the same way.
It's probably timing and when they make the deliveries is a big thing, because obviously you wouldn't want to do that in the morning.
Right.
No.
The current plan is it's this Starbucks.
Yeah, right.
I believe at the corner of Kingston Pike and Campbell Station, they don't really have a loading zone there.
They really don't.
No,
No,
they
they
just,
sure don't.
they just bring it in at the proper time when there's not an issue with
Okay.
and it's.
Well, you did such a nice job with the others in the back there. I was just wondering what your plans were for.
And that's a small truck that actually does the deliveries anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like a 18-wheeler.
Overall, I like the changes you made, so, good. That's all I got.
Commissioner Green?
I too applaud the changes. This has evolved a lot over the last number of months, and I applaud the changes, and we thank you for the effort made to try to resolve the issues that the town has had, so thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Green. Thank you, KJ. Appreciate you coming in and sharing your thoughts. We have a motion on the floor and a second for approval of the preliminary master plan as required for the commercial portion of Kingston Pike Village PCD. All those in favor say yes.
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 Yes. Noes, no noes. Mark, let the record show that the concept master plan has been approved with 5 yes and no noes. Agenda item number 8, discussion and public hearing on requested modifications to the building exterior associated with the Campbell Station Retail Building, parcel 119.02, tax map 130, behind Casey's off North Campbell Station Road, currently zoned C2, Hutchins and Associate, PC, applicant.
Yeah, this site plan is just a requested change to the building elevations for this building that's really nobody would see. It's a kind of it's a lot of record that's kind of back behind the Casey's convenience store off of Campbell Station Road. The previously approved elevations had a flat roof on the building throughout, and then this is the images of the different elevations for what was approved when this originally came as a site plan to you all in September of 2024. And that's some of the other, couple of other elevations of the approved building elevations. And then what they're proposing, and this really comes down to a cost issue, is to, this would have actually a little higher percentage of masonry. It goes from 75 to almost 80% masonry. But a lot of that, it still has predominantly a flat roof, and it's still got the iconic tower element, but they have shingles kind of on a slanted roof instead of just a pure flat face, flat roof. So that's kind of the major changes. The footprint size is the same, and all of the rest of the site layout is the same. It's just basically the building elevations they're proposing to change, mainly related to cost. The staff's comfortable with these modifications. I mean, this building is gonna be a nice looking building, and it's really not a building that you're gonna be able to see anyway unless you're back behind where the jazzercise is currently. So I think these are, we don't have a problem at the staff level with what they're proposing. Again, the masonry percentage is actually increasing slightly. So, but we also didn't feel comfortable making the, approving the change without presenting this to the Planning Commission, since it is different from what you all originally approved. So if y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those. The architect is also here if you have questions for him.
I'm going to move to approve the request to modify the building elevations.
Second.
All right. Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to see if the applicant, if you'd like to share your thoughts or anything. Welcome back, by the way, to, I just want to say, I think I commented last time you were here about, I really thought it was a very attractive building for the location with the materials you presented and the design, and this is clearly even an improvement on something that what I personally thought was a...
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm David Hutchins, Hutchins Associates, PC, 4625 Newcomb. My office address. And, everything from the soffit elevation, about 10'4" down, is the same. Same amount of glass there, same amount of brick. But we actually reduced the amount of masonry on the building by not quite half, and the shingle that's on it is an architectural shingle. It's going to look really good. It's going to add a color to it, and it's going to, the scale of it is a little tighter. And like Mark mentioned, this building is hidden, and it's really unfortunate. It's a good looking building, but it's really hidden from view. The owner is, one of the things that's happened is he's got 2 leases that he's looking at right now, 2 people that have a letter of intent. And when we started with the other building, he was kind of looking at more height, more volume on the inside for one thing, and these tenants don't do that. So we can, modifying it structurally to lower the ceiling, on the inside and do what we're doing around the perimeter makes a lot of sense. So it's a different structural configuration, but the appearance is all going to be very similar to what it was before.
Okay, good. Thank you, David. I'm going to open it up for discussion with the Planning Commission. Ron?
I have none. I pass.
John?
It looks like an improvement to me, so.
Louise?
I have nothing.
Mayor Williams?
Yeah, definitely an improvement. I've dealt with flat roofs before, and they're a pain, and so that's definitely an improvement.
Okay.
Well, architect stuff go into the office on this.
Yep.
Right.
Got to count the buckets, yeah.
All right, those are my only comments as well. So we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the requested modifications to the building exterior associated with the Campbell Station retail building. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Noes? No noes. Let the record show that the requested modifications to the building exterior associated with Campbell Station retail building have been approved with a vote of 5 yes, 0 noes. Thank you, David. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming out. Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, sincerely. Agenda item number 9, discussion and public hearing on a request from the Planning Commission for Knox County Schools to consider a reduction in street lane width from 12-foot lanes to 11-foot lanes along the section of Boring Road that is being improved by Knox County in response to the Farragut Area Elementary School.
Yeah, this item relates to the improvements the county is proposing along Boring Road in association with their new elementary school that's to the east and south of Baldwin Park subdivision. The original road design plans that were presented to the Planning Commission basically extended the cross-section that was created when Baldwin Park was developed from the Baldwin Park frontage on Boring Road all the way to Smith Road. And that has two 12-foot lanes and 2-foot curb and gutter. The request that Commissioner Pavlin made last month at the as a citizen forum item was to recommend to the county that those lanes be reduced from 12 to 11-foot lanes. And again, the reason they were 12 was just to kind of continue what was there, but you know, what was there, you know, is pretty wide for this type of road. The rest of the road is very rural, as you all know. I mean, it's almost a walking trail once you get past where the county's improving. And it's pretty unlikely that there's going to be a continuation of 12-foot lanes beyond, you know, where they're showing their improvement. So that it was just simply a amendment to the plans that we would recommend to the county for them to look at. They have already bid the project with the 12-foot lanes, but the thought was if they do make some changes to the plans, that the Planning Commission, you know, if you all want to recommend that you're okay with lessening those lane widths from 12-foot to 11-foot, then they would know that that's okay from the town of Farragut's perspective. The staff is fine with this. We understand the logic of why they did it originally like that, but it is a pretty rural road when you get especially beyond where this improvement is. So transitioning to a little less wide road makes sense because that's ultimately what's going to happen to the rest of the road if it ever gets improved. It's probably going to be a pretty minimal improvement as far as the width.
So what is the process or procedure to make that request to Knox County? Is it a letter? Is it a phone call?
Once we make a motion, I'll let you know what my conversation.
Very good.
Speak up, I didn't hear that.
Can I make a motion to
Sure.
approve
Yeah.
the reduction in the street, recommending a reduction in the street lane width from 12-foot to 11-foot lanes?
Second.
So I spoke with Mark. I requested this. I wish I had been at the January meeting. I would have said, you know, 12-foot lanes obviously is overkill in that area to begin with, and discussed about moving it to 11-foot lanes because that's what we're moving most of our collectors to, Virtue Road, Union Road. We're looking at 11-foot lanes, and it's certainly enough to accommodate bus traffic. So I talked to Mark, and he had indicated that they'd already sent it out to bid. And I talked to Lauren Morgan, and they didn't want to stop that process, which makes sense. But there's always changes in a plan going down. They're looking for cost savings, and they may decide that 2 feet of lane width and all of that goes in with that may be worth looking at. And my point was, why don't we put this on there, give them the approval so they know they don't have to come back to us to ask for it. They know that we're interested in seeing the reduction to 11-foot lanes. If it happens, it happens. I hope that it does. If it doesn't, we've approved it at 12-foot lanes. But we're open to considering 11-foot lanes if they're interested in building them. It gives us more green space in between the trail. That's 2 feet of green space that we could add to between the trail and the road width, which is always, anytime you can increase that grass space, better off you are with, and we know we'll have pedestrians there. So that was some of my reasoning.
Can we be voting on a formal request? And that's
Well,
why
yeah,
it's kind of great
it's
to
a-
me. but
yeah,
you're more versed in it.
It's for them to consider, and they can certainly consider it in the process of them starting to build out. They may decide to take a look at that when they're looking at changes. And it may be enough of a cost savings for them to consider it.
I mean, that was the question,
Can't
is
hurt.
how that process works.
Yeah, it can't hurt
Yeah,
to
and their
put it in
engineer knows that we're, you know, looking at that. So I talked to
Yes.
Aaron Gray with Ardura about it, so he knows about it.
I don't have anything.
Ron?
I got to say, I don't have a problem with 12-foot lanes.
I know you don't, but they're fast.
What?
They're fast.
But you got big buses, and mainly, I mean, all the school buses are going to be on that road, and I know when the buses come through my neighborhood, if there's a car parked along the road, which they're not supposed to be, it's tricky, and I think every extra foot
But that's a
for the safety of
collector.
well, I'm just saying, I don't have a problem with the 12-foot lanes.
I have a huge problem.
No comment.
No comment? Okay, well, we do have a motion and a second to request, the planning commission request to Knox County.
It's roll call.
Thank you. So, reduction in street lanes from 12-foot lanes to 11-foot lanes along the section of Boring Road. And Mark, I'd like to ask for a roll call at this time, please.
Okay. Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Chairman Russ,
Yes.
Commissioner Pavlin,
Yes.
Commissioner Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinchot,
No.
and motion passes 4-1.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Mhm.
The last item on the agenda, two more is approval of utilities. Mark, do we have any utilities this evening?
We do not.
Okay, and no citizen forum?
I do not have anyone citizen forum.
All right, let the record show that the time is now 7:11 PM, and the March 20th Farragut Municipal Planning Commission has come to a close.